Good evening and welcome to Pakistan Today News from our London studio. I'm Chris Taylor. We begin in Pakistan's federal capital region, where security officials say 2 rudimentary drones were intercepted near Rawalpindi. Authorities report that the drones were brought down using electronic countermeasures before they could pose any serious threat. Officials confirmed there were no casualties and no major damage, although minor debris damage was reported in nearby areas. Airspace around the location was temporarily closed as a precaution, but was later reopened after the situation was assessed. Authorities also dismissed claims circulating on social media about attacks on military facilities, calling them baseless propaganda, and clarified that flight operations at Islamabad International Airport continued normally, despite brief operational adjustments earlier. In another development, Pakistan has launched a new counter-terrorism campaign known as Operation Ghazab-e-Lila-il-Haq. According to Information Minister Atullah Tarar, the overnight operation targeted terrorist hideouts and logistical facilities across the border in Afghanistan. Security sources say several militant camps used for planning attacks inside Pakistan were destroyed during the strikes. Officials emphasized that the operation was carefully planned to target militant infrastructure while avoiding civilian areas. The move follows a recent surge in cross-border attacks, including the suicide bombing in Bajaur, and authorities say Pakistan will continue action against groups using Afghan territory to stage attacks. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has decided not to raise petroleum prices despite an increase in global oil rates. The Prime Minister's office said the decision aims to provide relief to citizens and reduce financial pressure on households at a time of rising global uncertainty. Officials say regional tensions and economic pressures could affect Pakistan's economy, but the government is attempting to manage the situation through financial discipline and austerity measures. Authorities have also assured the public that adequate crude oil supplies are available and that strict monitoring will ensure consumers are not charged above government-set fuel prices. Now, for more on this story, we're joined by our Islamabad correspondent, Sarah William.
Government officials say the decision to hold fuel prices steady is part of a broader effort to protect households from the immediate impact of rising global oil costs. With international markets reacting sharply to tensions in the Middle East, authorities here in Islamabad are closely monitoring fuel supply and pricing mechanisms. Officials have emphasized that maintaining stable petroleum prices will help limit inflationary pressure on transportation and essential goods. They also say regulatory bodies have been instructed to monitor fuel stations to ensure that consumers are not overcharged during this period of volatility.
Sarah William reporting from Islamabad. Thank you, Sarah. Turning to international developments, U.S. President Donald Trump has said the war with Iran will end when I feel it, as fighting across the Middle East continues to intensify. Trump stated that the United States and its allies will maintain strong military pressure in the coming days. Reports suggest that more than 2,000 people have been killed across several countries since the conflict began roughly 2 weeks ago. The situation remains volatile as missile and drone attacks continue across the region, raising concerns about further escalation and the possibility of a wider conflict. In another major development, the United States Department of State has announced a reward of up to $10 million for information leading to senior Iranian leaders. The offer specifically targets Iran's new supreme leader Mojtaba Khamenei, along with several top officials, including Ali Asghar Hijazi, Yahya Rahim Safavi, Ali Larijani, Eskandar Momeini, and Esmail Khatib. The reward was issued under the Rewards for Justice program amid ongoing U.S. and Israeli military operations against Iran. According to the notice, the individuals are accused of directing activities of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which Washington says supports and plans terrorist operations globally. Officials say anyone providing credible information could receive the cash reward and may also qualify for relocation protection. Meanwhile, global oil markets are reacting sharply to the escalating conflict in the Middle East. The price of Brent crude, the international benchmark for oil, has surged more than 42% since the conflict began following U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran. Market data shows Brent rising from around $72 per barrel in late February to roughly $103 by the end of trading this week, marking an 11% increase in just the past week alone. West Texas Intermediate crude has climbed even higher, rising more than 47% since the conflict began and approaching $99 per barrel. Analysts warn that continued fighting in the oil-rich Middle East could keep global energy markets volatile in the weeks ahead. And finally, the United Kingdom government has warned fuel retailers against unfair price increases during the ongoing Middle East crisis. Energy Secretary Ed Miliband has summoned major fuel companies to talks at 10 Downing Street alongside Finance Minister Rachel Reeves. Companies including Asda, BP, ExxonMobil, and Shell were asked to explain the recent rise in petrol prices. The government says it will not tolerate what it calls unfair practices, while households face increasing costs linked to the conflict. Officials say the meeting aims to ensure consumers are treated fairly, although industry representatives have cautioned against rhetoric that could place additional pressure on petrol station workers. That's all for now. You're watching Pakistan Today News. I'm Chris Taylor.